Okay, so in America, a lot of things happen to international students over here, and it has gotten to the point where when I wake up every morning, the first thing on my mind is which problem am I going to encounter today, or what challenge am I going to experience today, so that I know in advance that this is how I'm going to feel today. Yesterday, I remember asking my friend Abel that today, what is happening, like which problem are we facing, because every single day, something bad would happen to you as an immigrant in the US, right? So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys 7 things that has happened to me since I came to the US, or 7 things I have barely mentioned it to anyone that I would call my worst experience since I came to the US. And starting with the first one, which most of you have heard before, is the day I landed in the US when I nearly got arrested, right? So those who know the story, you know I came to the US in July last year, and then I landed in New York JFK airport. I didn't have anywhere to go, and my train from New York to West Virginia was, I think, 24 hours away from the time that I had landed. So I needed a place to stay and wait for my train. And I quickly went to the train station where I would be picking my train. So while I was there, I was in New York, and I've been so obsessed with New York. Like, I've been obsessed with New York for some reasons, and I love Times Square so much. So when I was in New York and waiting for my train, which would be leaving the next morning, I was like, why don't I just go to the Times Square and then go and explore there? And mind you, I had my luggages with me, right? So I had my 2 luggages and my school bag, and I didn't know anyone there to keep my luggages with, so I just left the luggages in the reception, like where I was sitting waiting for the train, and I left my luggage there, the 2 luggage, and moved to Times Square. Went to roam in Times Square, took pictures and all those things. And when I was in Times Square, something just felt off. Something was like, yo, get back to the place that you were. Like, no one said anything, it just felt off. Quickly went back to the place that I had packed my bags, and mind you, behold, the people in the train station, the reception, have all come out from the room, and then the police with their canine dogs were sniffing my bag and all those things. Like, everyone had surrounded the bags, and I was like, hey, excuse me, that's my luggage. And they're like, is this yours? And I'm like, yeah, it's for me. And they're like, where did you come from? And I'm like, no, I'm waiting for my train tomorrow, and I went to Times Square. And the officer was like, do you have an ID on you? And I'm like, yes. I searched my bag, and I had 2 passports, right? I have 2 passports, the 5 years one and the 10 years one. The 10 years one has the visa in it, right? So I searched my bags to see if I would get the one with the visa, and I wasn't finding the passport. What didn't I do? I just didn't find the passport. All I could see was the one without the visa in it. And the officer was like, bring that one. Took the passport, took a picture of it, and he was like, you are in America, we don't do this here. I could detain you or some, those their language and all those things, but since it's your first time here, I'm going to leave you for you to go, okay? And I'm like, okay. When he left me, everyone in the train station was like, man, come on, you can't do this in America, bro. I'm like, well, that is it. So yeah, that was my first experience. When I told my friends in America, they've all been laughing, because it's like, since 9/11 when Osama bin Laden went to crash the Twin Towers, they've been very alert with bags and all those things. When you come to America, never leave your luggage unattended to. We don't do that over here. So yeah, that is it. The next thing that happened to me was probably the first semester that I came here. Now, in one of my classes, they said there's something called open book. So in America, we have a lot of open book exams, meaning you can go on Google and then just find the answers. You can just, and then reframe it in your own way. I didn't know that what I was about to do was academic integrity. So what I did was went on Google, copied the answers. That was so stupid of me. I know I was so stupid, but copied the answers and pasted it as my answer because it's open book. Sunday morning, I was about to prepare for church, just like this morning. It's 10:47 and my church starting like 10 minutes, but I'm not ready yet. So I get an email from my professor with the caption academic integrity evaluation with a subject, and I'm like, what is happening? And then he wrote on my, he's a lawyer, right? So he planned everything, like he arranged everything in order with no escape, like nothing. And I was like, I could defend myself. He actually set up a meeting for me to defend myself, but I'm like, it's not worth it. You caught me, like, yeah, that is it. This is not the time for me to go back and forth. And he said I should meet him in his office, blah blah blah. They set up a meeting with me. It was so awkward, like he gave me evidence that he used AI to check it, and it showed that I plagiarized and all those things. So he ended up giving me a 0 in that course, and I had to retake that particular course. So yeah, that was also another terrible experience. Do not come here and use AI in your essays and all those things. You will get caught. Whether you get caught. So that was another experience that I would say I wasn't really happy with it. The third experience was, I've said it in TikTok or my previous video, that when I came here and someone asked for my bank account details, which I didn't know the intention of the person. The person said he's receiving money from his uncle. And me being the person that I am, I just give him the details that, okay, sure, there's it. Give him the bank account, received $2,000 plus in my account, saw the money, sent it to him in Ghana. Slept one morning and had a dream that my bank account was negative $7. And normally, if you know me personally, you know that if I get dreams, they come to pass, right? Woke up that morning, first thing was I checked my bank account and it had run a negative. It had run into the negatives. I've never seen something like that before. My bank account went to negative $1,899. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I haven't made any purchase, like nothing. I was panicking because where was I going to take that money from at that time? And I'm like, what is happening? $1,800 plus. Which work was I going to do to make me that money to cover the negatives for it to even enter the positives? And then I quickly called the bank and they sat with me and then we did the calculation. I went to the bank, right? They sat with me, did the calculation, and apparently the money that I had received $2,000. I had received $2,000 some few weeks back, and the person who sends the money reported it to be a fraud. So it was fraudulent and they had to withdraw the money back to the person. And if I don't get angry, right? If there was a day I have been so angry in America, it was that particular day. I went straight to the guy, cast him out, and like, yo, bro, why would you do this to me? Why would I believe you and give you something, my details for you to receive your money, and then you used it to scam someone? $2,000 plus. And then to make it crazy, he acted like he didn't really care, but it's like he doesn't have the money. Like, he basically scammed someone with my bank account, and that is it. So I told him that let's set up a payment plan for you to pay the money, because there's no way I'm going to pay that $2,000 debt. Like, I'm not going to pay that for nothing. He set up a payment plan with me, which he never paid a peso. He never paid a dime, like nothing. And the bank kept on sending me emails. We are reporting you to credit agencies. We are reporting you. We need that. And I'm like, what is happening? So this person too isn't willing to pay the money. I had to force myself, gather money, and I paid that $2,000 for free. I gave someone $2,000 for free. I dashed $2,000. And after I paid that money, I said a prayer to God that this money is a sacrifice to God, that I've given that money to him. I assume that I've given that money to God. And it went, like, the money is gone into the thin air, like, for nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any wrong. I just had to pay someone's hair. So that is a lesson. When you come here, do not give your bank account details to anyone. No one should have access to your bank account. I ended up closing that bank because I'm like, I'm done with you guys. So yeah, that is it. Another thing that happened to me that I would say is quite funny, but it's very funny. It's very funny. Is in October last year, we went to watch the Ghana versus USA match, friendly match in Tennessee, and I went with my friend George, right? So when Wednesday, we couldn't even watch the second half of the game because Ghana had conceded about 5 goals in the first half. So we decided to leave, and it was very cold. Like, it was extremely cold in Tennessee. My hands was freezing. So we left around 12 a.m., getting to 1 a.m. We left Tennessee, coming to West Virginia, which was like 7 hours to drive. And when we got to Memphis, Tennessee, George was like, he wants to take a nap because we had 6 hours drive ahead of us. So he took the nap in the car, and I spoke to my family in Ghana outside the car. So it's like I got out of the car to speak to my family about the match and everything. And George was sleeping in the car. So he slept for about an hour and 30 minutes, and then he woke up, and I was like, okay, we are ready. So initially I planned to sleep, but looking at how George had just woken up from this nap, he still looks sleepy. He's like, I'm like, George, are you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, are you sure? And I was in the front seat, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to sleep, because the way he looked too sleepy. It's like he just woke up and you're about to drive. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Folded my arms in the car and I started praying. I'm like, yo, God, please help me, because George was too sleepy and you could tell. And I didn't want to challenge him. Oh, bro, like, you don't want to sleep, blah, 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 and all those things. Whilst we were driving, 30 minutes into the driving, all I could see was the car moving into. So if you've driven, okay, you've probably not drove on an interstate before. So in the interstate, it's like state to state, highways that connect states. Okay, so from this state to this state, you use the interstate, right? All of a sudden, we could see the car just move off the interstate into the middle of the road. Like, the roads were divided by grass. We were grateful to God that it wasn't divided by these metal rails and all those things. It would have been terrible. So it was full of grass, and then we just moved into the grass, and he just started steering, turning his car. And I'm like, Jesus, in the car. I was like, Jesus. And he just kept on stepping, but then we weren't getting on the main road. And then kept on saying, Jesus. And then quickly moved on to the road. And like, thank you, Jesus. And it was so, like, we nearly got into a car accident. Like, imagine there was a car around. It was midnight, like 2 a.m. So there were barely any cars on the interstate, and we just moved into the middle of the road, and he just kept on steering his car until we got into the main road. And he still uses it to laugh at me and all that, but it's all fine. We thank God we didn't get into any bad accident. We couldn't get into any bad situation at hand. So yeah, that is it. Now, the last experience that I would say I had since I came here was one time. One time, a lady in America, a white lady, told me that my presence makes her uncomfortable. And I know you might not take this to be anything serious, but for you to be in a school and someone telling you that I get uncomfortable when you come around me, it's very insulting. It's the most insulting thing I've ever heard since I came here. I was like, anytime I see her, I smile at her and then all those things. And I'm like, why don't you, like, anytime I'm trying to talk to you, you've been acting. And it was like, I don't know, but your presence makes me uncomfortable. And I'm like, hey, little. When I see this girl and I look at the things that I have done in life, the things that I've been through, and this girl telling me this insulting thing, it was crazy. But that word that she said to me stuck with me for a very long time, to the point that I wasn't talking to anyone in my school. I didn't go for any social gathering because I had that perception that my presence makes people uncomfortable. I didn't do anything to her, didn't insult her, nothing. She just said that my presence makes her uncomfortable. And imagine someone telling you this. Do you know how it will feel? It feels very painful, like in a country where you don't know anyone and then someone telling you this. Like, it's very painful, but I'm over it now. I understand it. If you know me, you know that you should understand why someone would say such a thing to you, especially when you don't have any bad intention or you are not a bad person. That is why I keep telling the boys or the brothers watching this video that when you come here, stay away from the women here. Stay away from the women here. You are not going to marry them. They don't like you. You are not their type. They wouldn't do anything for you. They'll end up putting you in trouble. Stay away from the women. When you come here, don't come with the mindset that, Charlie, the girls, I mean, if I come here, I'll be faster. Please stay away from the women here. The women here come first. They are first. They listen to them more than you, the one coming from wherever you are coming from. Okay, so I just remember this one, and it happened recently, like 2 weeks ago. Okay, so I was working with someone in a certain location, and he's not from here. He's not a black person, right? He's an American. And while I was working, I was stuffing books on the shelf, and he's my co-worker, like my workmate. So I thought it was going to be cool to just prank him, like just for a video. So I plant my camera on the shelf and take a rubber, like this tin rubber, and decide to just tease him on the neck. So it feels like there's an insect on his neck, and then he hits it, and then maybe I'll tell him that, oh, it's just a prank. I was just recording. I just thought it was going to be cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I fixed my camera, pressed record, tickled him with a leaf, and then he hit his ear. The video was going on so well. It was so funny. It was getting so funny. Tickled him with a rubber, and then he hit his ear. It's like, what is happening? He didn't know what was happening, but I was laughing. And then I did it about 3 or 4 times, and then later told him that, yo, listen, I'm the one messing with you. That is the camera over there, and I just played the video. And this guy was like, hey, wait. Look, can you delete it right now? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's my video. I am in the video as well. And he was like, no, but can you delete it right now? And I'm like, no, because I am also in the video. Something that was very funny, he didn't know that I was recording him. His face didn't even show, it was just the back of his head. And I'm like, I'm also in the video, and I don't want to delete myself from it, so I'm not going to delete it. Hey, is there anybody you could delete? He kept on repeating, can you please delete it right now? And I realized that what was even the point of even going back and forth with him, because I'm like, okay, sure. Deleted the video right in front of him, and he was like, can you go to your recently deleted? I'm like, wait, who are you? No problem. Went to this thing, my camera, my recently deleted, and then deleted it, right? Now the crazy thing is, my iCloud for some reason is so fast that it stores in my iCloud. It's like I store stuff in my iCloud faster before I even delete it. So I went to my laptop, saw the video on my iCloud, and I'm like, look at this. I can't post it because he can use it against me since he can use it. So yeah, it was very awkward. It was very intimidating because I'm like, why would you ask me to delete a video that I took with my face also in it and the back of your head in it? So yeah, that has been it. That has been it. I wanted to add one last point, but I feel like it's not yet time. It's too early to say this particular thing. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next.